The contents of this video are for informational purposes only. Please consult the manufacturer's guidelines and use and care instructions before beginning.
Hi, I'm Pat Clark from Lifting Gear Hire Corporation. Today we're going to be discussing Modular spreader beams. Covered in these topics are proper beam selection as well as safety guidelines. For those of you familiar with the Modular product line, you probably may be aware that they offer a compression-style spreader beam system. For those of you who are not, your first step is to reference Lifting Gear Hire's product catalog. Within our catalog, we offer virtually every model that Modular makes. Today, what we'd like to demonstrate is the safe and efficient assembly of our beam system. If you ordered your beam unassembled, included are all of the necessary components. You have 2 end units plus any intermediate struts that you're going to require based on the capacity and length beam that you need. We'll also include a sticker for your reference that shows exactly how to assemble it. It's important to note that when connecting the intermediary struts, the manufacturer does not allow any more than 5 total struts. Regarding the configuration, they recommend starting with the largest strut in the center, then moving toward the end units with smaller struts. Before connecting the end units to the strut, we want to ensure that both drop links are pointed downward. To begin assembly of the beam, simply grab the flange of the strut and the end unit and complete the connection with a supplied bolt, washer, and nut. Now, some of the models vary, but this particular one requires 110 foot-pounds of torque in order to secure this flange properly. After this, we want to repeat this process wherever 2 flanges meet along the beam. When securing the flanges with the nuts and bolts, it's a good idea to have an alternating pattern, similar to how you would if you're changing the spare tire on your own automobile. After this step is complete, now you're ready to add on your appropriate rigging. When it comes time to adding the rigging, whether it be the bottom rigging or the top rigging, we have to start with a bolt type shackle up here and remove the cotter pin that's on one end. While we're doing this shackle pin is actually supporting the drop link. So it's a good idea to support the drop link as well with a piece of wood or any other type of cribbing. Once we remove this, we're ready to add on our rigging. If you're renting a Modular spreader beam from us, we're going to include the top rigging as well. We've already taken the time to figure out which is the appropriate size sling for your beam of choice. If you're choosing your own top rigging, be aware there is a minimum hardware requirement for each sling. Simply take the sling, put it inside the shackle, replace it to its original position, replace the pin, add the nut, replace your cotter pin inside, and spread the cotter pin out on this side. Once you've completed this end, you repeat the step on the opposing end. These spreader beams work under compression. While the beam is horizontal, all the forces go toward the center. Because of this, the only areas allowed rigging to be applied on are the end unit shackles. To give you an example of how compression works, look at what happens when I apply 100 pounds of weight to a soda can. It is fairly stable under compression from both ends, but when you apply a small force from any other area, you can see the devastating results. Once you've attached the appropriate size rigging, now comes the point to stage the beam above your load. But before any hoisting can begin, we want to remind you of a couple design features. The drop link must be in the vertical orientation and be pointed downward at all times. The manufacturer does allow you plus or minus 5 degrees off of that vertical plane. The beam itself must remain level at all times. If it gets out of level, you can imagine the drop link will also go out of that plus or minus 5 degrees. In addition to that, they recommend no less than a 45-degree sling angle above the beam. To compensate for unbalanced loads, we want to do all of our adjusting above the beam, not below. You may have to lengthen or shorten a sling, or use an approved device such as a shackle or a turnbuckle. Once you've considered all of these factors, now you're ready to start doing some test lifting. Before any lifting begins, be sure to consult the load chart and other reference materials necessary. At Lifting Gear Hire Corporation, we offer capacities ranging from 24 all the way up to 1,000 tons in our Modular spreader beams. We hope that you've enjoyed this video and found it helpful. For questions regarding this product and others, give us a call. As a reminder, the contents of this video were for informational purposes only. Please consult the manufacturer's guidelines and use and care instructions before beginning.